The Son of Man has to be given in the hands of men. They will kill him. He will be buried, and 3 days later he will rise. If you recall, this was also the gospel of last Sunday. And because Peter did not like what Jesus was saying, he tried to rebuke him. But Jesus said to Peter that he is not thinking as God is thinking. He comes not to do the will of humanity, but the will of the Father. In the first reading today, taking from the prophet, we see how the human nature try to deal with those who are different from them in their living. The book of wisdom that we brought from today, he said to us, let us see if the just one is really true and sincere, if he is authentic. Let us put some failures or some stumbling block in front of him to see how he reacts. And if he really believes that God is his Father and he is his Son, let us see if God comes to his rescue and help him. And the word that I put there that really stick out is that the way that the people live and the way those people who love God live are different from each other. And in fact, those people of this world, they call those who live by the law of God obnoxious. In the gospel today, we find Jesus, as I told you, speaking to his disciples and tell them that he has to go to the passion, that he has to go to the cross. And on the way home, while they were discussing who is the greatest. And Jesus knows their thought. He said to them, what are you discussing on the way? And nobody answered him. And Jesus said, whoever wants to wish to be the greatest in my kingdom, he has to be the least and the servant of all. And that really is the root of what our Catholic Church is all about. Our church is a church of service. Our church is a church who take care of others. Our church is not me or our or the groups or the cliques, but all, to serve everybody. And Jesus reminded them, in order so that they can get that the lesson, he took a boy and put it in their midst and say, unless you become like this child, you cannot be my servant, you cannot be my disciples, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. And you know, a child has many qualities, but also have a lot of weaknesses. The quality the child has is innocent. The child is always in love with those who are his providers. And then he is vulnerable. The child is also dependent. The child is also in learning information. The child is also ready to do and to serve what others who are superior to him ask him to do. My dear people, when you look at that second reading today from St. James, there is a lot of things that we need to learn. And sometimes, you know, we don't grow in our faith because what James said today, he hit the nail on the head. Where does jealousy and your fight among you come from? It comes from within, your passion, your desire to be greatest, to be first. You are above others. You are superior to others. You don't want to bend to nobody. And that is because the pride and sometimes even the jealousy that we are not going to allow no one to even become equal to us, more and more to be more higher than us. And then James really continued to say that we are people who try to do things in order to achieve things. He said, you kill, but you do not obtain. You take other people and use them, but you do not possess. You are the people who really try to be what other people are, but you will never be. And that's why he said, and all this comes from within you. And he said, if you have all this, then you are missing the point, what really a disciple of Jesus is all about. Because a disciple of Jesus is full of love. He is vulnerable because when he is reaching out to others, he is going to be rejected. Sometimes even he is going to suffer for the good that he does. And sometimes, there is that attitude, I will not do it, Father, anymore because I have been rejected. I was not appreciated. Well, it's better to love than never loved. Number 3, a child is information. And that's what we are as Christian, information of the gospel and knowing the gospel. And always in the process of becoming a child of God, a disciple of Jesus. And in order to do so, we need the instructions. We need the Word of God. We need Him to support us by His very word and action. The child, like a child, we are ready to serve. We are ready to do anything you want. When you have children and you ask them to do something, they do it, and they do it without no idea of who is first and who is second and who is going to sit. But then when the parents involve themselves, why my child did not have the best part? You see, that is the other issue, that sometimes parents destroy the innocence and also the goal for which the child was called. And that is really what the gospel is all about today, is about serving those who are less fortunate than we are. And we need to serve those in our midst. We need to serve those who are really vulnerable, those who are really people who have no one to care for them, those people who are really in need of our reach, in need of our help. And the greatest gift that we can know is the gift of the cross. From that cross, He gave us everything. There is no greater love than this, than one lay down his life for the one he loves. That was the Master's words. And this is what really our liturgy is all about today. That we need to stand by those people who are really reaching out to us. That sometimes we don't need to be people who really are standoffish of people. We need to be like childlike, so that we will be ready not only to work with others, but also to serve others. Because this is a church in which we are called by the Master, who came from the Father, as He said, for one thing, to serve the needs of each one of us. I come not to be served, but to serve. And that idea of servitude is what we need to put in our minds if we want to be disciple of Jesus. Because discipleship does not mean that we say the Our Father and the Hail Mary and the Glory Be, and also to sing the Alleluias in church, but to be people who are ready by our love to really shower others the love of God. This is really what the first reading, gospel, and second reading is calling us. But unless we clean ourselves from that passion within us of jealousy, of rival and division, we cannot serve. Because if you are there to divide, if you are there because you want to be first, if you are there and do what you do because this is my church, this is my country, this is my home, you are not able to serve others. remember that Jesus from that cross teaches us a great lesson. And the lesson of humility that he teaches is what we need to learn. Because with our pride, we are not going to go nowhere. Look, he take a child. And with that simplicity and dependency, that he always depend on the Father for his support, the child is an example of all those who want to be disciples of Jesus. May the words that we read, may the message that we take with us help us, so that we will stand by those who are less fortunate. Then we will stand by those who are hurt. That we will stand by those who are being persecuted. At this moment it comes to my mind the people of Syria, the people of the Middle East, how they are running away from home just to save themselves. And why? Mostly because they are Christians. Mostly because they uphold the teaching of Christ. I believe that these martyrs of our day today is superior to the martyrs of the first, second, and third century. Because those martyrs of the first and second century and third were people who were very small. These are countries. These are people. These are people who are dying in front of their children and dying a horrible death. And that's what we need to pray for. We need to pray that God will bring peace in this country. That we will open our hearts to welcome these people who come to us and knock at our doors because they want to be free. Let us really be people who not only speak it, but also do it, the will of the Eternal Father. May the words of Jesus today that spoke to us, we too, we are not going to be afraid that we are going to be hurt. We are not going to be afraid that people are going to think different from us, or sometimes even call us obnoxious. But we are afraid that sometimes we don't do the will of the Father. May the Lord bless our readings and bless our meditation, so the message that we take today will remain with us. I come not to be served, but to serve. If the Master is so willing to do so, how much we are willing to follow the Master's way. God bless you.